Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ike's Political Minutes. And today, breaking news: North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has entered the GOP presidential primary in 2024. And I honestly didn't even know who Doug Burgum was initially. And I don't think that most of you guys have probably heard of this guy either. And I just saw that his name was on a poll a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, what? Who the heck is this guy? And I looked at him, and Doug Burgum is actually a pretty interesting person. He's amassed a great fortune through his businesses, specifically in the software and tech industry. He's a very successful entrepreneur, and also he has done a lot as governor. And, I really want to dispel the myth that Doug Burgum is this milquetoast moderate who just comes from the Great Plains states. Like, this guy is a conservative firebrand. He is like the Ron DeSantis of the Great Plains, if not even more conservative. Like, if you'll see right here, Mr. Burgum has signed into law a near total ban on abortion and created significant restrictions on gender transition care, including banning any requirements that teachers or school administrators use the students' preferred pronouns. I would argue that this puts him to the right of Ron DeSantis. This puts him at the vanguard of new conservative policies. I think that Doug Burgum could really unite the Republican Party if he were nominated. However, he would also come with liabilities, particularly on the abortion issue. But as you'll see right here, he has a reputation for upsets because this 538 article talks about how he has an enormous fortune of money, far more than someone like Chris Christie or Mike Pence. And also, he was behind in the polls for North Dakota governor by nearly 50 points. He was behind 49 points. But you know what? He actually ended up winning by 20 points, meaning that was a 69-point overperformance. 69 points? I mean, who does that? Who has that kind of overperformance? Well, clearly it's Doug Burgum. So I don't know. I'm not sure that this guy can win, particularly with his aggressive stances on abortion, but I think that he has the potential to make the race closer, much more close than many people anticipate. So, assuming that Doug Burgum wins the nomination, which is a long shot, but like I said before, he has a reputation for long shots. Let's forecast how he would do against Joe Biden. So I don't think that he's going to penetrate the West Coast. That goes safely to Joe Biden. Biden wins Illinois. And I don't think that Doug Burgum's conservative policies would fare well in the ancestrally liberal Northeast. So I think that Biden would carry New Hampshire by a pretty decent margin, by a lean margin. Though I do think that Doug Burgum would carry Maine's second congressional districts by a likely margin, just because that's traditionally how it's been. Maine's first, safe blue, and Maine at large, likely blue. And now I think that Doug Burgum would sweep the Great Plains and Rocky Mountain states because that's where he's from. I think that that coattail effect would land him an easy win in Nebraska's second congressional districts, likely red. And I think that because of Doug Burgum's conservative policies, because of his ability to unite that old Republican coalition that's kind of been fraying under Trump, I think that he would score huge wins in Texas, in Ohio, and Iowa, places that have either been trending towards the Republicans or have been Republican for a while, and I think would really be inspired by a candidate like Doug Burgum. However, I think that Doug Burgum's extreme rhetorics, particularly on social issues like transgender issues, or especially abortion, that would not fare well in places like Colorado, New Mexico, and Virginia. I think New Mexico and Virginia are likely blue, and Colorado is actually safe blue, because I think that these states have moved much more in the liberal direction recently, and they would not be too enthused to vote for someone like Doug Burgum. So I think Biden wins these states handily. I also think that Joe Biden wins Michigan and Minnesota by likely margins, because what you need to understand is that abortion is an enormous issue in both states. Like, Gretchen Whitmer in the governor election actually beat Tudor Dixon by a bigger margin than she beat Bill Shute by in 2018. Why did that happen? a big reason for that is because abortion was on the ballot in Michigan. It matters to voters there. So when you go into a governor's office and sign in a near total ban on abortion, voters in Michigan are not going to appreciate that. And for that same reason, Janet Prusakowicz in Wisconsin, she ran heavily on abortion against Daniel Kelly in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. And you know what happened? She won by almost 11 points. Abortion is also a huge issue in Wisconsin. So I think that because of that pivotal issue, these crucial states in the upper Midwest would all go in Joe Biden's column. However, I think that Doug Burgum's socially conservative stances and to unite the traditional ancestrally Republican coalition would win in these four states. I think he would win Florida by a likely margin. I think he would win Georgia by a likely margin, and North Carolina and Arizona by lean margins. I think that all of these states really are Republican at heart. They've kind of been disenchanted by Trumpism, and I don't think that Doug Burgum necessarily embodies Trumpism as much as he just embodies conservatism in general and the Republicans' bold efforts to move into the future on their agenda, which is something that I think these states could really get behind. And Nevada, I think that narrowly goes to Joe Biden. I think Nevada is a state where social issues really do matter, and I think that Doug Burgum would be way out of step with a lot of voters, particularly in the Las Vegas area, regarding issues like abortion or LGBT issues. And finally, the pivotal state of Pennsylvania. I think that Joe Biden wins it narrowly. I think that Doug Burgum could excite voters in Western Pennsylvania and the rural parts, but I think that voters in the suburbs would vote much like voters in Wisconsin or Michigan. They would not be too enthused with his social policies and generally have drifted away from conservative policies in general. Like, what you have to understand is that Doug Mastriano, when he ran for governor in Pennsylvania, he lost by 14 points. And what was the biggest reason that dragged him down? He supported a complete ban on abortion, no exceptions, not even in the case of rape, incest, or the life of the mother. If Doug Burgum is going on that same kind of platform, then yes, while he might have other strengths, he's going to lose Pennsylvania at the end of the day. So there you have it, a close election. I think Biden wins 275 to 263. Thank you all for watching this video. Please comment down suggestions below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all later.